Welcome to another episode of Professional Couch Coaches with Doc and Mike. I am Doc here
What's
with
up?
my brother. There you go, my brother from another. That's right. My boy just worked 20 hours, so he's probably tired, but look what he's doing. He hopped on so we could chop it up and bring you guys a new episode uh, with some fresh thoughts about some things that's been happening around the sports world. So, Mike, we're gonna kick off tonight's show talking about opening day was probably about I think it was last Thursday, might have been on Wednesday or Thursday of last week
Yeah,
for baseball. Um, do you really follow baseball? Is it a sport you keep up with?
I played baseball younger, so it's one of my two loves of sports. I cannot sit and watch a baseball game unless it's the playoffs.
Oh,
I
so
I
you go,
cannot.
so you're gonna wait till October to show interest
Oh,
in
I'm
baseball.
I'm I'm tuned in October. I follow it enough to know who's going to be in the playoffs and where to which games to watch. But yeah, I can't sit down. Like during the summertime, I'm probably not watching much baseball. The All-Star game, like the home run derby, you know, that, but that's probably about all you're gonna get from me until about October.
Yeah, baseball season is so long. Like football, it's only 18. Well, it ends up being like 21, 22 weeks. That lasts about 4 months. But it seems like because there's so many games in baseball season, it's 162 games. And if you watched every one of them, that's like true dedication to fanship. Um,
And then they play two games in one day sometime.
Sometimes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I personally, I like baseball too. Growing up, I was a Braves fan. Um, Loved Chipper Jones. Wanted to be like Bobby Cox. I
Andrew
thought,
Jones.
yeah, that team, Greg Maddux.
Mm.
I loved the Braves back then. I had a Chipper Jones jersey actually, but
I had a
I
signed
thought,
glove.
did you? Oh, Chipper Jones.
Yeah,
Chipper Jones was that dude.
he
Like,
was.
so I used to watch baseball back then. Like, not like watch, but I kept up with it more than I do now. But now that we're in Houston, uh, we have transitioned to Astro fans because it's a big thing. They love their Astros down here. So uh,
That's
we
an easy
have,
team to root for too. It's like rooting for the Patriots in the early 2000s.
yeah, because they're winning. Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So they love their Astros. So we try to catch a game every once in a while. The stadium is nice as hell, but um, growing up, I was a Braves fan. Now I am technically rooting for the Astros. Coincidentally, you play baseball. I played softball. I thought I was going to be professional. I was going to play for the Olympic team. That was my goal. I know I
Hmm.
got a lot of goals because I talked about how I should have been a collegiate basketball player.
Yeah,
So
that
for
flew
I'm,
out the window real quick.
it did Mike. It left
Hmm.
quick, huh?
My
When
bad.
I when I got when my body kind of started to grow in different ways, I was like, I'm going to just transition my athleticism to softball.
Got yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
paid off for me. Had my knees held up, like that's a brutal sport. Playing
Hmm.
softball, it's a brutal sport. Um, I've gotten hit everywhere you could probably think of, and the softball hurt. Well, baseball's hurt too, but softball's a little bigger. It hurts
Hmm.
a little more. Um, so, but I wanted to play for the Olympic team. This is how lofty my goals were when I was in the 10th, 11th grade in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I would look at my Chipper Jones poster and I would say, one day I'm going to play for the U.S. Olympic team. Mind you, I'm good. I was good, but I wasn't like Olympic good, like, because I went to A&T and, Aggie Pride, but that's not exactly like a premier softball school. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
uh, so I had lofty goals, so, uh, but we never know. One day, maybe I can coach from the couch an Olympic softball team.
Dream big.
See, you with me?
Yeah.
So you never know. And you yourself could play MLB on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. That's about as much as you're gonna get out of me right now.
What position did you play?
I play pitcher and shortstop.
You could pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well,
Yeah.
but you didn't play in high school, did you?
Mm-mm.
You
No,
had
I focused on
transition.
football. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. See, my high school was really like um um really into baseball.
So you weren't confident in your ability?
No. Not to play in high school. Um, because my high school was really big on baseball. We actually had a guy. I was probably a sophomore or junior. Had a guy that got drafted by the Braves. I think he was a pitcher actually. Got drafted by the Braves. So when I heard that coming into high school, I was like, yeah, this might be a little too much for me. Which I should have
So
did it. Yeah, I should have. But
you should try it.
yeah, you know. But I just geared focused on everything on football. So
Yeah. You was quick enough for shortstop?
yeah, I was rangy.
Oh, because you were a little
I was
taller than
tall and lanky.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, got
Yeah.
you. I couldn't play shortstop because I was slow and chubby.
Yeah, I was rangy, so I could, I could move a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, I could move from in between where the second and first because I was the first base person. So that little spot, which was probably what, maybe 3 feet, I could get
Hmm.
back to the bag
Yeah,
and I could catch and
you
I
could
could
try.
catch.
You could try it real quick.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's the beauty of playing first base. Well,
Okay,
being on
Barry
the
Bonds.
yeah, being on that, first base, you don't really have to cover a lot of ground. The expectations are low, you know.
Hmm.
The only thing that you have to do is be able to catch. That's it.
Okay.
And and sometimes the ball will come high, come low. That's how I got hit so much because I some of them girls I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like I played with this girl and she had like a cannon, but she played second.
Hmm.
So, the ball hit in between us. She would rile back like we were 20 feet away. We were probably 4 feet away. Like, and she would throw it as hard. It didn't matter where she was on the field. She threw it as hard as she could.
You ain't tell them to
And
slow that down.
nah, because I didn't want to seem like I wasn't prepared to catch it. But
Okay.
sometimes I would really be like, if I couldn't catch, like this would be dangerous. Sometimes I wish we would have grew up in a different era, like because if I know now how like to translate my skill set, I probably could have done something with the Olympic team. I just didn't. I didn't. Little ghetto kid from Fayetteville. I ain't know no better, but I probably could have did something because I love the game. I love playing. I love playing a lot actually. So, and you've seen my skill set. I'm a natural born athlete. I know I caught you off guard. You probably thought I couldn't catch or throw or run. Well, I can't run, but you know what I'm
Uh,
saying.
Yeah. Yep.
I caught you
Yeah.
off guard. What how athletic I am?
You did not catch me off guard. was was not caught off guard by anything. You are what I perceived you to be.
So that's a good thing though, right? You thought when you
Yeah.
saw me, you were like, she can catch, she can throw, she's
Hmm.
probably super athletic, is what you thought.
Yep.
You
Yep.
remember we'd be playing in the gym at craft, and we would be like just whooping them kids, and we would do like really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time you threw the ball and I died. I dove for it. And
In
while
the
I was
gym.
diving, yeah, while I was diving,
Well,
I might have been 30. While I was diving, in my mind I thought, why the hell did you leave your feet? why,
what are we
why
trying
you
to prove here?
right? Why are you extending your arms? What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is a child's game. Why are you
Yeah.
doing this?
But we
Because I
played
wanted
against
to
kids who are now playing college athlete, like college sports now.
they're
So
probably at
yeah,
yes. You
those kids
remember
look
that time?
different.
You remember that time we was playing 5-on-5? Shout out to PJ. And
Hmm.
PJ blacked my eye.
No,
He came down.
no, he knocked
We
you
were
out.
playing. He did.
You was
Got
asleep.
first concussion happened
Hmm.
at Craft Recreation Center. PJ Thompson. We were playing 5-on-5. It was really 2 on like 4. It was me and
Hmm.
Mike versus some kids. And PJ's always been like a grown man. And he came down with an elbow. He was taller than me at the time. He might have been
Hmm.
12. He was taller than me. He came down with an elbow and knocked me out.
Yeah,
And
all I
that's when
seen
I
was
said,
dreads flying.
yep. And me
You
hit
remember,
the ground.
you remember that episode of Dave Chappelle when he slapped when he was Rick James and he slapped
And
Charlie
he,
Murphy and he spent
yeah,
around in a circle and his hair was flying everywhere. That's what you
that's
look like, spinning around on
yeah,
the floor, and then you
yeah,
was asleep. And PJ was
yeah.
scared. He thought he was going to jail.
Yeah, he stood over me for a second. He said, Miss Willette, you okay? You
Like,
okay? You
yeah,
okay? Yeah, good times, man. I just wanted to prove my athleticism, but after a while I realized I
getting
should
knocked
probably
out
say
proves getting knocked out proves your athleticism.
it proved that my time had came and
Hmm.
it had left the building and it was no longer my time. And that's okay. We all that's why I'm coaching from the couch. That's why I'm chilling. I'm not out here playing no more. I'm good. Like,
Right,
I play horse, but I ain't about to do nothing like where I'm cool. I'm cool on it right
right,
now. That's it. I know where I'm
right.
at athletically. I,
Makes sense.
I keep I keep telling you younger than me. I'm over 40, and I be telling you, just wait. Like your body be like, just chill. You ain't gotta prove that no more. It's cool. Somebody will
Yeah,
talk about what you used to do in your heyday,
right.
in the heyday. So let's transition. One of the things that happened probably like week and a half ago, we had it's like the coaches and GMs meeting. I can't remember what city they met in this year, but
Florida,
from Florida, they were down
hmm
in Florida,
Orlando,
and
I think.
from that, what came the NFL rule changes. There was a host of changes. X, Twitter, formerly Twitter, was buzzing with some of the changes, and I feel like some of the changes are beneficial for the game. In case you guys are unaware of some of the changes that happen, we're going to run through a few of them. And I guess we can weigh in on our thoughts on these rule changes. So, one of them, the third challenge, currently you only, was it before you could have, yeah, before you could have a challenge, but could you get a third challenge?
You
Only
had
if
to
the
win
first
both
two.
of them.
Yeah, if the first two were successful.
Hmm.
So now the difference is you only got to win one of the challenges. Um, and that should really help. the Ravens coach, because he don't care about them challenges, boy. And they be dumb, but he a challenge. So uh, I don't think that's really a big one. Um, you got reviewable plays. It includes ruling that a quarterback was down or out of bounds, whether or not the play clock expired before the snap, can also be reviewed. Now, that might be a big part to the reviewable play,
Yeah.
because there's been a lot of discrepancies as far as if, like, how different efficient groups, how they handle the play clock. Sometimes they give you a second extra to get the play off. Sometimes it's a half a second. Sometimes they're right on it as soon as the play clock hits 0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of up and down. And I know a lot of times coaches will complain like, hey, that was a 2-second break in between the play clock ending and the play starting. So that might be a big one that kind of come down the pipeline, uh, that can cause controversy, basically.
Right.
The Another one that I know is gonna cause a lot of ex players, a lot of
Current players.
current players talked about this damn hip drop tackle. Um, and what the hip drop tackle actually is. First time I heard about the hip drop tackle was Mark Andrews. We were playing the Bengals, and he got tackled from behind. Player grabbed him, dropped, grabbed him from behind, dropped and rolled him to the right, but rolled on his ankle. That's what put him out of the game. And he missed about 7 to 8 games after that because he had a high ankle sprain. Some people tear things that they can't repair within the season and the season ending. Um, so now players will be penalized for using a hip drop tackle. What are your thoughts?
I get why, you know, they're making this rule change as far as like tackling players from behind and just, you know, dropping your weight to bring them down. But you you making it, well, I get why both sides are of the NFL is making the rule, and I get why defensive players are upset. Um, the NFL is making the rule because they're trying to make the game as safe as possible to prevent injury to the players. I understand that. Defensive players are highly upset because you're making it harder for them to bring players down to the ground. I mean, at some point you're gonna just start telling defensive players, "Hey, we just gonna play 2-hand touch," or let's put the flags out there. We're gonna play flag football or something because you're making it real difficult. But I get it from both. I see it from both sides. I see it, so I understand why both, you know, have their disposition on the situation.
It's funny because when the thing happened with a Ravens player after the game, they asked other Ravens defensive players, like, "Did you see that tackle? Was it legal?" And he's like, "It just looked like a tackle to me." Like, a lot of
Hmm.
players don't even have, like, to them, it didn't seem like a dirty play. It didn't seem like a malicious play or something that was intended to hurt someone.
Right.
So they're just like, if somebody's running and they run past you and your job is to stop them from running, I have to do whatever I can do
To get you
to
to the ground.
basically tackle you.
So how
So
else? So how else are these players supposed to tackle somebody who's in front of them? Because you can't grab them by the horse collar.
you cannot.
You and it gets dicey when you even grab them by their jersey or by their shoulder pad from behind. So now
Right.
you can't wrap your arms around them at the waist and
At the
then drop
waist.
your
Yeah.
body weight down. Like, so where are you supposed to tackle? You just supposed to dive at their legs and pray for the best.
Yep.
So
Clip
now it's
them.
like if so
You
now it's
gotta
like
clip 'em.
if Tyreek Hill or some super fast player get in front of you, you might as well just throw your hands up and just say, "Hey, coach, what you want me to do?"
Let them go by you and score.
Well, I think what they're gonna tell them is you still tackle them, and we'll just take the 15
Yeah. It's
because
almost like unsportsmanlike kind of
yeah,
penalty.
but that's just a 15-yard penalty though.
Yeah. I'm wondering how they gonna call this because I mean I get how they're describing the motion, but to for yourself to drop to the ground like as you're tackling somebody, you got to drop your hips.
Yeah, well, yeah, because how else are you going? Because even if you wrap them up from behind, like think about the size of some of these players, like Mark Andrews, for his instance, who got a prime example of this happened to him. I don't even know who the player was that tackled him, but that's not even important. If Mark Andrews is 6'5" and let's say 260, 250, easy, right?
Yeah.
He that's a big boy. That's a man. Imagine grabbing him from behind and he's still trying to run away from you. How are you gonna
Oh,
bring him to the how what are you supposed to do? Just hold him there and just and pray to God some other body come help you?
you gotta clip them. I told you that it's gonna
Just
be a
clip
lot.
him.
It's gonna be ankle injuries, a lot more ankle injuries, because that's gonna be the only way people can get people down. They're gonna have to do something to they.
So
If
now
you
they're gonna
can't
dive it.
grab,
Now they're gonna dive at their knees.
basically, which
Mm.
they don't want technically, because that's supposed to be player safety too. But
Well,
I want to,
that's what the defensive players were saying when they said that you couldn't hit them up high.
yeah, that's why I want to see how the officials handle it because like we were just talking about reviewable plays and the snap count and stuff. What I want to see how it varies depending on the the official group because the way the play happens, sometimes it can look like maybe you're trying to grab them from behind and twist them, and maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's their momentum. It could be a lot of factors that come into when you're trying to tackle somebody. And then a split second to say, let me make sure I don't swing them to the ground and roll up on their ankle, which you don't know that's going to happen. I'm sure when Buddy grabbed Mark Andrews, he wasn't thinking, oh, let me roll on his ankle right quick.
Right.
I'm sure.
I just I just think it's gonna be one of those ones that's gonna be overly penalized at the beginning of the year, and then they're gonna make such a big fuss about it that they're gonna start lightening up on it. Just like you remember the year when they first implemented, you couldn't land on the quarterback, and
Hmm.
it was just like OD how they was throwing the flag on it. But then by the middle of the year, they kind of lightened up and changed it. I think this is one of those. Yeah, it's gonna be like it's going to be overly penalized because everything they're not going to know what's a hip drop tackle and what's a regular tackle in fast motion. Like we got to
Right.
remember these players are going to be running at full speed, making these tackles and stuff. So they got a split decision to try to make a judgment call on if it's a penalty or not. I think it's just, at the beginning of the season, they're going to be like, well, if it looks like it could be a penalty, let's just throw the flag. And so it's going to be overly penalized at first. But I think towards the middle of the season, they'll start to correct it and start to get, some kind of even ground on, some more footage on for the refs to say, well, this is what we're looking for, not this.
Well, they gonna have to, because if not, it just slows the game down, which is another criticism that fans have talked about when it comes to certain things.
Well, I mean, those calls are big calls. I mean, 15 yards, that's big. That's a big penalty
Yeah,
in the
could
game of
be game
football.
changing.
Yeah,
Could be game changing. Yeah,
it could be.
yeah. So another big major rule was the new kickoff rule. So the kicker will line up in its own 35-yard line, while the rest of the coverage team will line up along the receiving team's 40-yard line. Conversely, the receiving team can have two returns inside the landing zone. Now, this is going to be the most complicated part, I think. While the rest of the receiving team lines up at the 35-yard line. I want to see what this looks like.
I saw it last year in the XFL.
Okay, I didn't watch the XFL, so
Yeah,
how
I
does it?
saw it. So they're like five. I think they're 5 yards apart, like the coverage team and the return team. I think they're like 5 yards apart. So from the 20-yard line to the goal line is like the landing zone for like where they have to kick the ball, right? So where the kicker has to land the ball. So if the ball goes into the end zone or it doesn't reach the 20-yard line, then I think the receiving team gets the ball at the 40. They
Okay,
get the ball at the 40. So that's pretty costly.
significant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like two first down. Well, yeah, two first downs, you in field goal range.
yeah,
So it's really, your kicker got to be pretty spot on to not kick it in the end zone. They're trying to promote returns because, last year, what was we doing after a team scored, after they kicked the field goal?
at
What you
kicking
doing?
it.
If you watching the game on TV, the
Yeah,
Ravens just scored. Justin Tuck
yeah,
kicked the extra point. What you
walk
doing
away.
after that? You ain't watching the kickoff
No, just
because you
wait
know what's
for when
about.
they possessing the other ball.
You know what's
Yeah,
about to happen. They about to kick
yeah,
it in the end zone, and it's gonna be a touchback. So they're trying to
yeah,
promote teams returning the ball to bring the actual return game um, back into it when teams used to kick off from the 30 and not the 35 now.
right.
So I mean,
So that's
I think it'll be entertaining.
yeah. If you got good kick returner, it would be.
Yeah. So now you putting like star players back there again. Because imagine Tyreek Hill back there now. All he got to do is make two people miss, and
And he gone.
that's house call.
That is.
That's
Or he gonna
house.
get or he gonna get his little body all smashed up if you got a
See, but
good gunner.
not. I mean, but you think about it. You only got 5 yards in between you and
It's
the
too
coverage
close.
team. Yeah, you ain't
Yeah,
got time to. You. That's almost like you a linebacker and you going against the lineman.
yeah.
You know. So I don't know.
That's a
I think
that's a
it. I
good
mean,
point.
it's interesting. It's interesting when you watch the XFL. The USFL is on right now, but the XFL, you should watch it. It's actually pretty entertaining.
I might check it out so
Yeah,
I can
see
see
what the
what the
kickoff
hype's
look like.
about. Yeah, I definitely want to see that before the season starts because I
Yeah,
mean the Ravens got a good kicker, but I don't know. We're in between kick returners at the moment, so and normally he would just get the ball and down it. We start kick touchback. Yeah, down it. We start at 25. Go from there.
right.
So
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think if the receiver doesn't catch the ball, like so you have to catch the ball too in that landing zone. If he doesn't catch it and it rolls into the end zone, then you got to start from the 20.
hmm,
So it's like a penalty. I'm not a penalty, but it's like you
yeah,
lose something if you don't catch the ball. So if it lands in that landing zone, like you have to catch it. and return it.
But like you were saying, this could be a game changer for, especially if all you do is kick return. It could be they could become a household name
Yeah,
just
think
off
of
their kick return.
Devin Hester.
Yeah, yep, and be in the
Yeah,
Hall of Fame one day.
he's in the Hall of Fame.
And be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
And guess what?
So
And guess what happened an hour after this kickoff rule changed?
what
The
you about to talk about? Player,
okay. Yeah. The Steelers signed Cordell Patterson, who has right now actively the most kickoff returns in the NFL.
Yeah. Coincidentally. Y'all trying to win, huh?
I
Y'all
mean,
trying to win.
they trying.
Y'all still gonna finish third in the division.
We didn't even finish third in the division last year with no quarterback.
Second.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares? So some other rule changes that weren't as significant as the other ones we just talked about were the trade deadline's been moved. It's now week 9, I believe. I believe before it was week 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it moved back a week. We talked about how you can declare players who are not traveling with the team. I don't know why that's always a controversy. Who actually can travel, who can't travel, injured players, whatever
I think it's just because like it kind of leaves no doubt if this player can play or not. Like if you're an away team,
yeah.
like if Lamar pulled his hamstring and he's coming to Pittsburgh and he travels with the team, that still potentially could mean he could just be testing his hamstring before the game to see if he gonna play. But if he don't travel, then we're not planning for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to take out that cat and mouse game of who's actually going to be active.
That's it.
Yeah. Another rule: emergency QBs. I know last year they changed where you could have 3 on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You could have 4, but one of them wasn't counted towards your roster spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unlimited.
No. I'm sorry. You're right. It was 3.
It was 3, right?
It was 3, but one of them wasn't counted towards like an actor. You can dress 3, but only 2 of them would count towards like the 53 man.
Yeah. Right. And that happened because San Francisco ran out of quarterbacks that time, right?
Yeah. Yep. They did.
Yep. Hawkeye feed. I can't remember if I read through that rule, but I think it's how they're the actual recording of the field. They're gonna put another device, I guess, to record to capture the game.
Okay.
So unlimited designated to return players. I actually think that's kind of interesting rule because it's always kind of this guessing game about when players can return, what their actual status is. Is it IR? Is it
right?
What's the other one? Unable, like when you injure yourself, but it wasn't football related. I can't even think of
the non-football related.
Football injury.
Yeah,
like
non-football related injury.
And the rules of how you return are always like it depends on what you're labeled, and that to me, it's hard to follow because sometimes it'll be like if it's IR, it's like 4 weeks or something like that.
Right.
IR.
Well, it just depends. It's I think it's a minimum. Is it a minimum of 3 weeks? or you like if they place you on IR, I think you have to stay out at least 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 4, but it's still like, but the non-football injury, you can return anytime, correct?
Yeah, you're just not getting paid.
Yeah, we had
Because you got
Tyus Bowser on that
yeah,
list the whole season.
because you got hurt doing something outside of playing football.
Yeah, I think he was playing basketball actually, but that's neither here nor
Yeah,
there. But he didn't get paid the whole season. He was on the list the entire season.
yeah,
Hmm
that's tough.
And then he got cut. But that's neither here nor there either. But so those are the
So who you gonna
NFL
play catch?
rules.
Who you gonna play catch with now?
All right, so Tyus Bowser used to, before Ravens games, would play catch with Raven fans in the stands. He would throw the football to a Ravens fan in the stands. One time, me and Mike was at a Ravens Steelers game. We was in Pittsburgh, and Tyus Bowser threw me the ball, and I was in the stand. This is when I realized, people have said this my whole life, but this is when I really realized my hands are small. And the NFL ball, it made me understand why, like, pundits always talk about the size of quarterbacks' hands.
Like Kenny
The
Pickett.
NFL, yeah, because the NFL ball is actually big. Like, I I've gone play. Like, I just talked about how I'm a supreme athlete, right? I've gone plenty of objects, right? But I grabbed this. Shut up. I, I grabbed this football. I couldn't grip it. And in that moment I felt like a failure for a second. Because I was like, I can't throw this thing. It's like, and now I in that moment, I understood why the size of a player's hands actually matter, because the football is actually large. And little baby hands cannot throw that ball. It is impossible. I get it. I get it now. So I learned that lesson. So thanks
Gotcha.
to Tyus Bowser.
Yo, what's up? What's up? This has been another episode of Professional Couch Coaches. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And as always, peace.